The Bears are gonna Bears, right? It's what they do. 10 straight losses for this miserable franchise that we root for. If you were looking for another way for the Bears to lose, they'll never find a way to disappoint you. Welcome into the Bear Necessities podcast. I'm John Przanowski, joined alongside me, my podcast co-host, my compadre, my BFF, Mr. Jack Lomax. It's so bad. We literally just have to laugh it off. We can either be grouches, miserable, angry, but like we've gone through all the emotions this season. Yeah. Like we're just ready for the recap. And I know we didn't do a show. I know we didn't do a show on Monday, Jack. Leading into Christmas Eve, and which, by the way, we hope all the listeners listening right now had a wonderful holiday season, and hoping you and your loved ones did not let the Bears ruin your holiday spirit, because last night was comical. We've watched some really shitty Bears games, Jack. Mm-hmm. That one was that was up there.
Up there, definitely. I mean, what is it? It's Amazon Prime. I pay a subscription for this, John. I pay a subscription for Amazon Prime. That was not Amazon Prime. That was Thursday Night Football. I would never pay for that. That's Roku TV. That's Roku TV. Free subscription. Everyone should get free access to this, because you should not be paying to watch that kind of shit that we just watched. That was embarrassing.
That should have been like a free week trial through Fubo TV, or I don't know what the hell that was.
Pluto TV.
I apologize on behalf of all Americans for watching that game last night. I wish we all could get our 3 hours back. I mean, that was one of the saddest games I've ever seen. Like, I'm out of words. That final drive too. I mean, that was so Matt Eberflus-esque. The clock management. I mean, Thomas Brown might have coached himself out of a head coaching position one day with that clock management. And I know our personnel and our roster right now is literally in shambles, but and we need to have a discussion about our kicker, Cairo Santos, who didn't do anything wrong, but his lack of not doing anything. Right. Because, it's 2024, and I'm sorry, we don't have a kicker that can attempt a 57-yarder. That's a problem.
It is a problem.
And that problem should land on your general manager, who has left this roster in shambles. And as the days go on, and as the days grow here, Jack, I'm finding it harder and harder to defend Ryan Poles moving forward. I mean, I wouldn't let Ryan Poles make my Amazon deliveries, let alone pick the next head coach. So this is where we're at. This team is pitiful. And again, I'd like to take this time to tell all of our listeners, thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with us this year. I know this has been an absolute miserable season, but we want to thank you guys for coming back and continuing to hang out with us on the show. This should have been a year of progress for our Bears. And last night should have been like a national showcase for why the Bears could be contenders in the NFC. Maybe not this year, but for years to come. Instead, again, it was a 10th straight loss in a season of misery. And if the Bears successfully ruin Caleb Williams, Jack, and make no mistake about it, they're doing their absolute best to do just that, I legitimately might quit this team. I mean, this is where we're heading. If they don't knock this head coach search out of the ballpark here, I don't know how much more of this I can take. I really don't.
Caleb Williams, I think, is going to be fine. His body language, I got a text yesterday right after the game finished. It was, whose body language is worse right now? Caleb Williams or Jay Cutler's? Like, I remember that Jay Cutler's body language every game. Like, just looking like he's defeated. I saw that last night. I saw that comfortably, but it's a season that's done. The guy is just tired of getting sacked. He's got, 67 sacks this season so far?
Fourth most in NFL history. Fourth most in NFL history.
I would be tired too. I hope he didn't buy his offensive lineman any gifts, like the tradition is for the quarterback.
What?
If he,
I don't know what he would buy them. But what would he buy them? Like life alert necklaces? Because they're all old and they can't get up off the ground. I don't know what possibly Caleb Williams can give to any of his offensive linemen, because they've been missing all goddamn year. And we're going to get to some tweets that blew our mind, and you led me in right away to one of the first ones. The most sacks taken in NFL history. Caleb Williams is already on that short list. The top 4, David Carr was sacked 76 times in 2002, followed by Randall Cunningham, 72 in 1986. David Carr again shows up on this list twice in 2005, and your Chicago Bears rookie starting quarterback Caleb Williams coming in at number 4 with 1 game left. I mean, and he's on pace to make the top 2 at this rate, honestly. I mean, he took 7 sacks last night. What is it going to be at Green Bay in 10, 11 short days? Is it going to be 5, 6? How many is he going to take that game? Caleb Williams has 67 sacks on the year. Now, granted, I will say 2 of them were for sure on him for holding the ball too long. He's got to recognize when there's a blitz package coming off the edge and there's going to be no one to help. Like, just eat it, dude. Just throw it in the ground. Just eat it. You know, I think we all can agree Caleb has really good moves moving out of the pocket, evading the pressure, but like, you're not going to be able to make all those insane plays that you made in college happen in the NFL on every drive. Like, it's impossible. It's becoming he's asking himself to do too much. It is.
It's my offensive line can't protect me. I have to do what I can to extend the play. It is a timing thing. We talked about this before. The offensive line can't keep, and in fact, the commentators last night were saying just as such. They can't have everything cadence correctly because the offensive line screws up. They can't protect him. So his play, the plays that are trying to be created, trying to go through their progresses are not there because he's got to throw it earlier, and so he'll try and extend the play, but he extends it too much. It's Justin Fields-esque. We saw this with Justin Fields, and this is what cost Justin Fields a job. Like, you held on to the ball too much, you got sacked too much. And I think it does come down to that offensive line. I think we get our offensive line fixed. We no longer have to rely on Caleb trying to use his wheels to get out of a situation, and he can sit in that pocket, and maybe he can take some juice off them balls because that dude tries to hurl it through a wall. It's embarrassing.
So on today's show, we're going to try our best to recap whatever game that was last night, your local punchline and national embarrassment, Chicago Bears. We're going to try and recap whatever it was we watched from last night. A lot of news in the Bears head coaching job vacancy, and a lot of rumors out there. Pete Caroll just happenly decided to put his name in the conversation, and we got an Adam Schefter news drop on Christmas Day. Was it Christmas Day that it
was
happened?
Around the time, yeah.
Yeah, that Pete Caroll is interested in coming back to coach, and he is interested in talking to the Bears. So Jack and I are going to play a little game of Pete Caroll or Ben Johnson, what makes the most sense for our beloved Bears. I list my 4-step plan for fixing this team, and of course we get to our favorite segment, some tweets that blew our mind. Jack, I don't even know how to recap last night's game because there really wasn't much of anything. You know, I do want to say I feel like the defense tried to give a good effort. I did see, you know, I do see good effort out of some guys. The last 3 weeks specifically, I see good effort out of 53, out of Edwards. I see good effort out of Kyler Gordon. Montez Sweat got a sack last night, which was nice. I see some good stuff from DeMarcus Walker, although I'm not sure if he's going to be on the team next year. But you know, there's still instances where Ryan Poles' like his footprints are all over this roster. Like Tremaine Edmonds last night, missing tackles, not catching an interception. He gets lost in coverage and he's like too fast, and he's too fast and he overcommits on stuff. You know, we were talking about it a little bit in the game last night. Tremaine Edmonds has not lived up to that contract. I mean, he is one hell of an athlete, but you know, it's he has not lived up to what Poles overpaid for him. Essentially, Edwards has outplayed his contract. Edwards has been great. So, but I mean, the Tremaine Edmonds piece is so small in a growing list of so many issues wrong with this team. I thought it was so funny that one of the offensive linemen, one of the below average project offensive linemen that Ryan Poles wanted to give a chance on, Jake Curran, or I believe that's how you say his name, the backup guard for Tevin Jenkins, who, by the way, Tevin Jenkins, didn't play in this game. Tevin Jenkins has missed 22 games in his 4-year career with the Bears. He's played less than 75% of offensive snaps in 16 other games. That's a problem, especially for a guy that you want to bring back. He's technically, I want to say, the Bears' best offensive lineman when he's healthy, but that's the problem. He's never fucking healthy. So it's like, what do we do? What do we do there? But I just thought it was so fitting that the Bears would have been touchdown, got called back. Why? Because of an offensive holding on one of Ryan Poles' guys.
Pet project. Yeah. I mean, let's go to the beginning here. You said Tremaine Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds, he's for me, it's an enigma because he's one of those cases where he's not, quote unquote, like playing up to his expectations, or maybe he is, and because of the stuff that he does that's not really seen on the play, that's why Edwards can elevate. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to target Edmonds, we're going to do this play, and then that puts Edwards in the spotlight. I don't know. I don't look enough game tape to kind of see that aspect that he has. But you're right.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
If we're expecting Edmonds to make plays, which we do, he's not making the plays. We just need to see if we get another defensive coordinator that can elevate his gameplay. Otherwise, trade him. Like, I saw something about Montez Sweat. I think you had a great comment there. Montez Sweat got his sack. People are saying Montez Sweat isn't living up to that second-round pick. He's had one bad season in a bad season. I am confident in Montez Sweat moving forward as a phenomenal piece in our game plan for 2025. Not worried about Montez Sweat. DeMarcus Walker, again, I think, like you said, he's going to be gone. There's no point of him. Kyler Gordon, I love Kyler Gordon with a passion. That should have been a touchdown. I don't really see what they saw to overturn it. Neither here nor there. I thought
it was a good call. It was clearly a forced fumble, but Kyler Gordon's knee was on the ground, and in that tangled mess of bodies,
somebody just touched him.
Just the Seattle tight end that fumbled the ball, or the receiver, whoever it was. I mean, his leg was touching Kyler in that mess, in that pile of bodies. And then that causes. I thought, it's just and exactly like the good plays the Bears have shown in some of these games, somehow it gets called back or taken off, and it's just been that kind of year. It's just been that kind of year. So, there was some good I took away from the game. Our draft position improved. The Bears are now 7th overall in the NFL draft. We went up from 9th to 7th, so I guess that's good. Again, I mentioned the Bears defense. I thought competed pretty well. Nothing exceptional. A couple sacks, but in that forced fumble. I think it was more of a testament to Seattle. Just I don't know what they were doing last night. I mean, Seattle would run the ball pretty well with Charbonnet, and then they would go away from it.
Right.
And all they needed to do was continue to run the ball. Last night, I apologize to my friends that like their online sports gambling. Nobody won last night. I mean, like, that was a pitiful game. A 6-3 game. Bettors didn't win. The Bears didn't win. If you're a Seahawks fan, I guess you won. But like, you scored 6 points on the lowly Bears. I mean, like, truly, last night that was one of the worst NFL games I've watched all year. That was awful. That was terrible.
I had a good friend that messaged me, and he's like, "Jack, I'll read you this. I'll read you this text." It was, I never feel confident with anything that comes in from anyone about anything Chicago Bears related, and he always says fade the Bears. And he sends me a message, and he says, "Let me find this."
Did he take the Bears with the points last night?
Put anything you have, spare nickels in your car, I mean everything, on the Chicago Bears plus 4.5 tonight. And I messaged him saying, I don't want to get disappointed by them twice, which I don't. It already hurts my heart. I don't want them coming after my wallet. We've already said that in a previous podcast. Yeah,
I don't blame you.
And he's like, do you want to... then Man United lost, which is completely irrelevant to this. But then he's like, do you want to feel better? Put Bears 4.5 plus 4.5. This is a lock. I'm like, you are insane. This is not a lock. And watching that game, I'm like, it's a lock. I don't know how he's managed to do that. He is the only person on the planet that I know that's won off that game.
Yeah.
And he won quite a hefty shekel.
I mean, you want not only just online sports gambling, like a lot of folks are in their championship round right now in fantasy.
Caleb Williams,
our good friend who we're talking to right now, Mr. Jack Lomax, is in the championship right now against a good friend of the show, Mr. Chris Craig. You had a lot of guys playing for fantasy purposes last night. Nothing happened. There were no touchdowns. It was an absolute joke.
And unfortunately, I started Caleb Williams. It was just put that to the camera right there.
I did.
Caleb Williams. Embarrassing for life.
I feel for you there. I didn't even think about you playing Caleb last night in the championship game against Kringus. So, oof. But we could talk about that off air. Speaking of Caleb Williams, I do want to mention, do I think it was a great game by Caleb? Absolutely not.
No.
I don't think he had a lot of help. More drop balls by Keenan, by Rome. Caleb finished 16 for 28, 122 yards. Woof. But there were two special plays. I mean, you could honestly say there were three special plays. The first one was the touchdown waved off where he's rolling out, throws a cross body in a Superman-like throw.
Phenomenal.
To Odunze. I don't know how many other guys in the league can make that kind of throw. Truly. Like a cross body like that. I mean, special. And those are the moments where in a season that was lost weeks and weeks and weeks ago, where we need to pinch ourselves and remind ourselves that like there's something here to build off of, and we're not used to that. And we can go comfortably into the offseason knowing we have a quarterback. And if there's any type of moral victory to take away from this season, it's that. And I want to remind all you guys, all you listeners listening right now, we have a quarterback finally in our lives.
That's it.
I mean,
period.
The team is still dog shit. The team has been dog shit since, the last 15 years. We keep talking about it, but we finally have a quarterback. And that alone makes me rest just a little bit easier. But now it's up to everybody else to figure out how to build around him, and really untap his true potential. So also like the shitty handoff from Shelton that like just bounced on the ground and Caleb like just kind of miraculously picked it up and scrambled and dipped it off to Keenan. And then on that fourth, I think it was a fourth down late in the game,
to DJ.
Caleb's running for his life and throws off his back foot miraculously and gets it to DJ to move the chains for a first down. I mean, like there was just a couple of those throws last night, Jack, where Caleb literally comes out with some magic, man. And I don't know how many guys before him could make those plays, could make those throws.
There's one thing that is kind of frustrating me about this season. I want to know if Keenan Allen's going to be with us next year, and
I just don't see it.
I don't see it. He's kind of made it kind of vocal that he doesn't want to be on a rebuild. This is a rebuild. We're not going to win next year. We're in a rebuild. Let's put it out there. Let's temper expectations right now. The problem is he has created such a good rapport with him, and we should have been using this season to be building that rapport with DJ. We've already got DJ on the contract. Keenan Allen's on a job audition right now for his next team. Like, here, I want this. I want the contract. I can show you that I've got the contract. I've gone with a rookie quarterback on a rebuild team, and I've earned the contract. So, congratulations, Keenan's got his contract for next year, whichever team he lands on. We still have a quarterback that needs to build a rapport with DJ, and he's got a decent one, but he ain't got enough in my books. So.
It's a shame that DJ last night, six grabs for 54 yards. On the season, DJ Moore has 89 catches for 880 yards for 5 touchdowns. So the production is still kind of there. You wish the touchdown numbers were a little bit up. You wish that he was a little bit closer to achieving that 1,000 yards, but still in a really shitty year, DJ Moore, still, in my opinion, he's top 15 in the league in receptions. He's 25th in yardage. To Keenan Allen's stats. Keenan Allen, 67 grabs, 719 yards, 7 touchdowns. So more touchdowns, but less production. And Keenan Allen, I mean, you want to talk about a guy that has averaged at least 85, 90 plus catches the last couple seasons, at the ripe age of 32, 33, how old he is. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to bring him back on like a 1 year deal. And it's a shame because him and Caleb do have some type of chemistry, but we've seen too many times this last month, like this team's playing for nothing. And Keenan Allen, a guy that has very, very good hands, has dropped a lot of easy balls. And I know maybe the ball placement hasn't been perfect by Caleb to Keenan on all these throws, but
there were some catchables.
Too many drops by 13. Too many drops by 13. Let's get to some of the bad from last night. I thought Thomas Brown has been just really poor on some of these offensive play calls. There's been a couple good play calls sprinkled in here and there, but too many plays where I'm just left scratching my head, and it just goes to show maybe he is really better up in the booth instead of being on the sideline.
It's not even a question.
At the end of that game last night, I mean, Ashley leans into me, and she's completely right. Like, that was so Matt Eberflus-esque on that final drive. Like, what in the world was that? It's a problem, guys, when we have a kicker who is unable to attempt a 57-yarder. We had plenty of time, 2 timeouts left, and the Bears just acted like the Bears and didn't know what to do on that final drive. We had to burn a timeout. You can clearly see Caleb Williams is like, get the play in faster.
He was pissed. Yeah.
He was pissed. Nobody is out there helping the quarterback. Like, it is just mind-boggling and so frustrating that I watch some of these college bowl games, and I want to argue that half of these college programs playing with little like 20-year-old kids can operate an offense at the end of the game on like a game situation tying drive. They have more confidence to deliver something in those moments than our Chicago Bears do. The chartered NFL franchise. That's a fucking problem, man. And this isn't the first time we've seen this. This happened in Detroit. This has happened for the last couple of years under Eberflus, and now it's happening with Thomas Brown. Like, what the hell is going on, man? Like, that should not happen. That should not happen. The Bears should have at least gotten a field goal out of that drive. I mean, and the fact that Cairo Santos, like, the fact that we don't feel comfortable with him even trying to tie the game, and it's 4th and 10, like, that's a problem, man.
He's got the leg.
That's a problem.
He has got the leg, but he's had the blocks, and teams have figured it out. He's got a low kick when he has to get it over 50 yards. He has a low kick. He's had him blocked. Teams know that they can situationally put themselves in a position to block that field goal. And you're right. At the end of the day, that comes down to the kicker. If that's how he has to kick a long field goal, and we can trust the leg. We can't trust the operation of it. So it's a problem. There are plenty of people out there.
I'm actually going to argue with you here. I actually don't think Cairo Santos does have the leg. I think he has the accuracy. Cairo within 40 yards is very, very accurate.
Luck. Yeah.
But like after 53, 54, 55 yards, we've seen time and time again, the coaching staff, whatever coaching staff we've had the last couple of years, they don't trust him. I saw on Twitter somewhere last night after the game, if the Bears decide to move on from Cairo, they'll save about $2 million that we can allocate elsewhere. There's only 32 kickers in the league. We need a guy to be able to kick 55-plus yarders. We need a guy to be able to do that. So that really, really rubbed me the wrong way. Really rubbed me the wrong way. And Thomas Brown, sir, you need to wear that at the end of the game. Let's get to the ugly. Everything, of course. I literally hate it here. I hate being a fan of this team. Sacks, there were 7 of them last night. Cole Kmet, he's still on the milk carton. He's still missing. And let's get to the ugliest of them all. And I know it's so easy to want to point the fingers and blame someone right now, but truly, everything that has been unraveling with this team, I think it starts at the top. Ryan Poles and Caleb Williams being top 5 right now on the all-time NFL sacks list. Who does that fall on? Ryan Poles. He has failed this young man in so many ways. He does not deserve to be our GM anymore. I'm sorry. I know both of us are fans of his. I think he's a really personable guy. He's very open, honest, transparent, which I've really, really enjoyed coming from our last couple general managers that haven't told the fan base dick, like literally nothing. But how this team has gone backwards when this was supposed to be a year of building forward towards the future, this team has gone backwards. And this team, the roster construction of this team and him hitching his wagon to Eberflus and this coaching staff that has literally done coaching malpractice and pretty much has wasted a year of Caleb Williams' development, that was all under his watch. This is the third season with him as general manager. You have a 14-game losing streak, and most likely we're going to end up with an 11-game losing streak, all under Poles. He has failed this team and this organization in every category. I said it earlier, I wouldn't let him make my Amazon deliveries at this point, much less alone letting him pick the next head coach. What am I missing? Like, what is there to defend? What is there to possibly defend about Poles right now? I will be shocked. I will be shocked, and we're going to get to Ben Johnson right after this segment. I will be shocked if Ben Johnson wants to come here and work under Ryan Poles. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense to bring him back. We need to blow it up.
It already got leaked. It already got leaked. Ben Johnson had already had his PR team and his team in general come out and say, one of the first questions I'm asking the head coach position wherever I interview is, what happened this year and what are you doing to fix it? And that, I don't think that was a question for Ryan Poles. That was a question for Mr. Warren himself.
Yep.
It was you've done your first job. You fired your head coach. Check. That's your GM doing that. You've elevated your offensive coordinator doing whatever you're doing. Check. The roster is the problem right now. And that doesn't come down to your coaching, that comes down to your GM. That doesn't come down to your president. Honestly, that doesn't even come to your, and I know we hate the McCaskies, doesn't even come down to McCaskies. That is a GM issue. The GM screwed up. The GM needs to be fired. It's a result-based job, you're not getting the results. You've screwed up hiring the personnel. If you've screwed up hiring the personnel, it is your problem. So you are saying it 100%. And I love Ryan Poles. I think he's phenomenal. I like the way he holds himself. I like the way he tries to build the correct atmosphere. But at the end of the day, I don't watch the Chicago Bears for their atmosphere. I don't care. I don't watch the Chicago Bears to say, we're all good pals here. I watch the Chicago Bears because I want them to win a fucking Super Bowl. All right? And you have not built the roster. I can't trust you to build the roster. I can't trust you to get the head coach. I can't trust you to get the offensive coordinator. Shit, I'm even nervous about the defensive coordinator right now at this point. So, don't screw it up. Get a man in that is going to be a yes man to Ben Johnson. I am going to give you everything you need to succeed.
So, speaking of Ben Johnson, this is the perfect segue. Obviously, Ben Johnson, his name has been actively floated about this whole week leading into last night's game by some very prominent NFL beat writers and reporters out there, like Tom Pelissero, like Albert Breer, and Schefter. All of them have put his name in the coaching pool and saying that both sides, the Bears and him, are very interested in each other. So it seems like we will get our wish and he will get to interview. But I truly feel like Ben Johnson is going to feel out the Bears just as much as we're going to feel out him. So, but with that being said, another guy has emerged from the darkness, and that is 70-something-year-old Pete Caroll, who wants to come back to coaching next year. And we kind of joked about it on last week's episode, and it's weird because I wish this team was in a better situation where I would feel more comfortable considering it. Make no mistake about it, Pete Caroll has done really good things in this sport. He has won everywhere he's gone. What I feel like this team lacks is like good energy. And that's one thing I do want to give Pete Caroll credit for. Pete Carroll, for a 70-something-year-old head coach, he has amazing energy. I don't know where he gets it from. I don't know if it's just all the gum chomping he does year after year on the sidelines. I mean, I don't think he is the answer for this team. I don't think Pete Carroll and the Bears would be a good fit, but I actually don't mind us interviewing him. It can't listen. It can't hurt. It can't hurt to interview him and see what he has to say. Do I want the Bears to hire him? Absolutely not. I mean, it's Ben Johnson up here, and then like 2 to 3 steps down, it's Vrabel, and then maybe even like a step or two below it would be Carroll and the rest of the candidates. I mean, Ben Johnson's up here for me. He is up here for me. And I continue to say it. If Ben Johnson does not feel comfortable working with Ryan Poles, then what are we doing here? Like, let him go. Let him go. I don't know if you noticed this from last night's game, Jack, and I think I have seen them in the past, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles not sit in the same suite together last night, overlooking and watching down from Soldier Field, watching the game. Is like, do you think there's somehow some weird growing tension between the two? Maybe Ryan Poles truly isn't safe at all.
No, we talked about it. He's not safe. There is no point even like addressing it. I don't think Ryan Poles has the job next year.
It just doesn't make sense to bring him back. And everything that is wrong with the Bears will be on full case if Poles keeps his job. I mean, like this franchise and this organization will literally tell us they've learned nothing if he returns. And it's a shame and it's unfortunate, but Ryan Poles has put himself in this mess. Caleb Williams being sacked 67 times this year is an abomination, and that falls solely on his shoulders. You had all the resources and every opportunity to improve the offensive line this year. You had all the resources to go out and get another defensive end opposite of Sweat. And what did he do? I think he just falls in love. He falls in love with these projects of these guys that he wants to give chances to, like Matt Pryor, like the Jake Currans,
Ryan
like
Bates,
the DeMarcus Walker, like all these guys that like are mid to below average players, and Ryan Poles thinks he can squeeze every little bit of juice out of them for a good deal while keeping the salary cap as is. I will give him credit. Our salary cap is in a much better position because of him, but there's been too many missed draft picks. Like last night, for example, Zach Pickens, your 3rd round pick from last year, is a healthy scratch.
Yep.
That's a problem. That is a problem, folks. That's not good. Your 3rd round pick needs to play. He needs to play. How are we going to know if he's good if he doesn't play? And we've seen him play, and it's clearly not good enough. We all know that. Zach Pickens is a non-factor on this team in that defensive line unit, but that's a fucking problem. It's a problem. So, too many misses in the draft by Poles. Too many misses.
There are too many misses. I think you've said something that I do value for him a lot, and that's he has balanced the budget. He got us out of a red.
Absolutely.
And so that worries me. You know, it's one of those things where we talked about this with Matt Eberflus. We got rid of Matt Eberflus and our defense took a dip. But we got rid of Matt Eberflus. This is it's the exact same mentality right now. Is are we going to get rid of our GM and then suddenly we get back in the red somehow? I don't know. I see the entire league. There aren't a lot of teams in the red anyway. I think take the risk. Yes, thank you for balancing the budget, but I don't care about the budget. I care about the results, and the results aren't there. So it's a result-based occupation. You haven't got the results. Thank you for balancing the budget, but you're out. You know, it's dog eat dog. Going to Pete Caroll, I agree with you. I do want to hear him out because he is a storied, respected head coach, but don't fuck it up. Don't overthink it. Yes, it's Pete Caroll. Pete Caroll hired Shane Waldron. We need to get the offensive coordinator right. It doesn't matter that you've won a national championship and a Super Bowl. I don't give a shit.
That's it. And his Super Bowl, Jack, came 10 years ago in 2014 against the Broncos. I mean, like, it has been some time since Pete Carroll has won a big time game. Also, it's Pete Carroll's call to throw on the goal line and not hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. You know, that was also on Pete Carroll as well. So,
Do you know where I could see Pete Carroll? Pete Carroll can go and enjoy his time in New Orleans. Bye, Pete Carroll. Bye.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. It has never been more of a layup higher than Ben Johnson this offseason. And again, granted, maybe there's another guy that throws his name out there in the vacancy pool that we don't know quite yet. Could be a college coach like a Dan Lanning, or maybe it's another coordinator. Maybe it's a head coach that
Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliff King, but
I don't like it. I don't like it
either. I don't like it. It just.
But look what he's done to Jaden Daniels, and look what he's done to that Commanders offense, and he's already got the rapport with Caleb. I think if we keep Ryan Poles, we somehow end up with Cliff Kingsbury. If we don't keep Ryan Poles, it's a no-brainer when we get Ben Johnson. That's my take. I've also got another Ben Johnson theory that I sent you a text about earlier.
Yeah. Please tell the listeners this. I thought this was actually really interesting.
It's left field, but Teddy Bridgewater coming out of retirement to heading into the playoffs. There is zero sense into that. It does not make the Lions a better team. What it does is it gives him an audition for Ben Johnson, whether he's going to be a veteran quarterback in the room for Caleb Williams because he doesn't have the veteran, he has Tyson Bagent, or if it's a case of he becomes it's an audition for him to be a quarterback coach for the Ben Johnson-led offense, or even the offensive coordinator. But I don't think it is a case of him coming in there to be a backup quarterback at the Lions. I think it is an audition, and I love it. He's just won a title it's a state championship at high school. It's not temper expectations, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, he's shown that he can be a good coach. Why not give him the opportunity?
It's very interesting to think about, and it's just another
plausible.
And it's also just another head scratcher if you're a Ryan Poles fan, that why we didn't have a veteran leadership in the locker room to help Caleb Williams during these difficult times. I'm not saying Teddy Bridgewater is like, the quarterback whisperer by any means, but
correct.
But why Caleb didn't have a veteran presence in that quarterback room
Brett
is yeah. Okay. It's just kind of bizarre again with this roster and where it's at and how it's not good enough. It just hasn't been good enough. It hasn't been good enough.
Bookmark it. This podcast is the putting it out there before anyone else even says it. I can guarantee there's no one else in podcasting worlds that are saying this right now. Teddy Bridgewater will be on a Chicago Bears roster or a Chicago Bears coaching bucket. We
gotta get Ben Johnson in here first, but I'm with you. If that happens, that would not surprise me. I want to keep this super short because we failed to say this on the broadcast last night. It was very obvious. It was very clear. You can hear the "sell the team" chants coming from Soldier Field. What did you make of that? Pretty wild. It was loud.
We've always said it. It's no secret.
Loud.
It's no secret. Where was I reading it? I was reading it somewhere. They were talking about how. You said this before, actually. It's come from you, but I've heard it more on some more bigger broadcasts like what's his face, Colin Cowherd, that kind of broadcasting where they've said, don't buy tickets, dry out the revenue. Make it so the team needs to be sold, because as long as they're making money, they don't care. George McCaskey may say that he cares. He don't care. It's a paycheck. He's just living off it. I think we knew. I think we need to sell the team. It's a no-brainer. I don't think our team moves forward. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen because everything that's going on with the Arlington site, that's under McCaskey. That is not going to be done under another ownership. So...
McCaskies are laughing all the way to the bank. and they're going to continue to do so.
Ching, ching.
I mean, they're not going to sell. So let's get to some tweets that blew our mind before we wrap up the show here. There's only been 2 Thursday night games over the last 75 seasons that have seen 9 or fewer combined points. The Oilers and the Steelers played a 6-0 game back in December 4th of 1980, and then last night between the Seahawks and the Bears, 6-3 was the final. Only 2 teams in NFL history have started at 4-2 or better and then proceeded to lose the next 10 games. The 2011 Buccaneers and your 2024 Chicago Bears. And as of now, the Bears rank 32nd in the NFL with, get this, an average of 1.3 points in the first quarter. And how many points did they score last night, Jack, in the first?
0, probably.
0. Once again. So Bears play the Packers to wrap up the year, and I unfortunately I think me and Jack will be watching. I urge everybody out there to just skip that game and do something else for your Sunday. Watch other NFL football. I actually really do like. I want to say this really quick. I actually really like when the Bears play on Monday night or Thursday night because they can't ruin my Sunday. I mean, truly, like football, there's something about football on Sundays. And I've really been enjoying, obviously the first round of the college football playoff was like a joke. I mean, like all the favorites just wiped out all the rest of, of the competition. But I've really been enjoying some college football this season. And some of these random ass bowl games have been kind of fun, like the Hawaii Bowl the other night. Oh my God, Christmas Eve, that was like the only football game on. It was such a joke. It was like 5 overtimes, but still, like that's been more enjoyable than the Bears on a typical Sunday. So I urge everybody out there, don't let the Bears ruin your holiday season. And again, we want to take this time to thank everybody for tuning in to this year. This has been the Bare Necessities Podcast. He's Jack Lomax. I'm John Presnowski. Again, make sure you guys go check us out on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you guys get your podcasts. And hang in there. And in 12 days, we should have the Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles press conference, and it is going to be steamy. I can't wait. I've never looked more forward to a end of the season press conference in my life. So, Jack, you have anything you want to say before we wrap up the show?
I'm going to say the opposite of what you just said. I'm going to watch that Green Bay game with eyes wide open because I want to see us ruin a Green Bay season. Yes, they've made the postseason, but where? If we have an opportunity to fuck it, don't get me wrong, temper expectations. I know we ain't going to win this, but if we manage to win this and we manage to screw over our noisy neighbours up north, I will not be as upset about this season. And I don't even care if it moves us from 7 to 9. I don't give a shit. I just care that we're going to ruin someone's season. Ruin it!
Yeah, Jack, if I were you, I would take out all 3 of your kids' college fund and put it on Green Bay straight up. I mean, like let's be real. We're not fooling anybody here.
Josh Jacobs, 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Guys. Yep.
I don't even want to know what the line's going to be. It should be like 14. I mean, how the Bears have been playing, I mean, we have no chance. So we have one more to go, guys. Hang in there. Again, he's Jack Lomax. I'm John Presnowski. This has been the Bare Necessities Podcast. Be good. Be well. And don't forget to bear down.